the millionaire's shocking rescue of an orphan girl left on the road by her cruel stepmom. Under the blazing neon lights of the city, where wealth hid in shimmering towers and secrets lurked in shadowed alleys, Raymond Hawthorne's sleek black SUV screeched to a halt. His sharp eyes caught a trembling figure, a little girl, no older than 10, slumped by the cracked sidewalk, clutching a threadbare doll like it was her last lifeline. Her clothes were torn, dirt smudged across her pale face, and her wide, haunted eyes burned with a mix of fear and disbelief. "Please," her voice cracked like glass, barely above the roar of passing traffic. Raymond's heart slammed inside his chest, an unfamiliar pang of something raw and aching. He had seen misery before, suits, boardrooms, empty luxury, but nothing like this. This wasn't just a lost kid. This was a kid buried alive in pain no money could ever fix. The crowd around them bent in, whispers slicing the night. Who's she? Why is she out here? That horrid stepmother left her like trash. Eyes darted, unsettled, but no one moved fast enough to help. Raymond climbed out, his movements sharp, urgent. The city's cold wind tugged at his expensive coat, but his focus was all on Lily. Her name came spilling out, a soft whisper she barely offered until he asked gently. Behind him, a dark sedan idled at the street's edge, its tinted windows hiding a shadowy figure watching, cold and calculating. Raymond caught the glint in those eyes, the kind that didn't blink when evil was near. He scooped Lily into his arms without hesitation. Her small body trembled violently, and he could feel her brittle bones shaking as if she was ready to break. His normally steady hands had trouble holding back the rising storm inside him, rage, guilt, something painful he thought long buried. The fast pulse in his ears drowned out the city noise as he raced toward the nearest shelter, a tiny safe haven nestled between skyscrapers and chaos. Inside, under the harsh fluorescent lights, Lily's story spilled out slowly, painfully. The beaten nights, the cold dinners, the cruel stepmother's whispers that promised worse if she ever tried to escape. Each word clawed at Raymond's soul, dragging up memories he'd fought hard to forget. The silence of his own abandoned past, the betrayals stitched into his family name. And when Lily mentioned a name, the same one linked to a bitter feud in his own empire, a cold shiver ran through him. As the night deepened, the shadows outside seemed to close in, not just from Lily's stepmother, but from dark players within Raymond's own circle. Trust crackled in the air like static electricity, and the walls of his towering world felt suddenly fragile. Protectiveness flared sharp and sudden. He wouldn't let this girl go back into the darkness. But in saving her, was he opening the door to a storm bigger than either of them could face alone? Outside, distant sirens wailed, and somewhere in the maze of wealth and secrets, enemies whispered, waiting for their move. What dangers were really lurking beneath the polished surface? And could two broken souls bind together strong enough to fight what was coming? Hey, before you continue with this incredible story, I have an important warning for you. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube has removed their subscriptions without warning. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content. And while you're there, leave that powerful like. It helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love meeting all the amazing people who are part of this community. Your participation makes a difference. Let's interact. As the tension hung thick in the air, Raymond felt Lily's tiny hand grip his shirt tighter. In that moment, the outside world faded, the harsh lights, the swirling shadows, even the distant sirens could hardly reach him. He was her protector now, and he'd do whatever it took to keep her safe. But just then, a voice cut through the silence, sharp and accusatory. "Raymond, what are you doing?" He turned, confusion washing over him. There stood his sister, Veronica, framed by the shelter's doorway, her expression a freeze of shock and horror. "You can't just take her. You don't know what you're getting into." The words struck him like a punch. His sister, always the calculating one, all sharp angles and cold logic, was now glowing with fear. "What are you talking about? She's not just some lost girl, she's part of it." Veronica's voice trembled, her eyes darting over Lily, who flinched at the outburst. "Her stepmother, she's involved with people we can't mess with." Raymond's heart raced, confusion turning to panic. He had been ready to shield Lily, to keep her from the horrors she faced, but now her history sprawled before him like an unsolvable puzzle. He had assumed her stepmother was merely cruel, a twisted villain in Lily's tragic tale. But involved with people, what did that mean? Before he could grasp a response, the air crackled with an ominous energy. A shadow moved behind Veronica. The dark sedan, he realized. The one he'd seen lurking, the one with the cold eyes. It rolled closer, the engine murmuring like a predator stalking its prey. A figure emerged, tall and imposing. It was the kind of presence that made the ground feel like it was tilting. "Drake," Veronica muttered under her breath, the color draining from her face. Raymond's blood ran cold. Drake Larson was a name he knew all too well, a player in the underbelly of their world, a man whose fingers were dipped in the dirtiest dealings money could buy. The one who'd do anything to protect his interests. And now, he was here. Drake approached with a predatory calm, a wicked smile curling his lips as he looked at Lily. "You should have kept your nose out of this, Veronica. And you, Raymond, you should know better than to take something that doesn't belong to you." Raymond's hands clenched into fists. "She's just a kid, you leave her alone." But Drake laughed, a low, chilling sound. "You think this is about a little girl? You have no idea what's really happening here." He stepped closer, and Raymond's instincts blared like an alarm. "Wait!" Lily's voice cut in, surprising everyone. She stepped forward, the fear melting away, replaced by an unexpected courage. "I know who you are, and I know what you've done." Silence fell heavy, tension rippling through the air. Raymond gaped, a lump forming in his throat. How could she know? Drake's expression shifted, a flash of surprise crossing his face before his eyes narrowed. "What did you say?" "I'm not afraid of you," she declared, her small frame trembling but standing firm. "You can't scare me anymore." In that moment, everything changed. Raymond felt the ground split beneath him, a truth breaking forth that could shatter their fragile reality. Lily wasn't just a victim, she was entwined in something much darker. The shelter they'd sought was not just a haven, but a battleground. As Drake's expression hardened and the world around them felt suddenly electric with danger, Raymond realized they were not just fighting for Lily's freedom. They were standing at the edge of a storm. A war that went deep into their world was igniting, and this little girl held a secret that could topple everything he thought he knew. What other secrets lay buried, waiting for the fallout to reveal them? And how deep did the roots of this twisted game really go? As Drake's shadow loomed closer, the air hummed with tension. Lily stood her ground, but Raymond felt the weight of uncertainty crushing him. What did she know? And how was it linked to Drake? Just as he opened his mouth to ask, the faint sound of sirens suddenly pierced the night, but it felt shallow, distant. The real danger was right in front of them. Drake chuckled, a slow, mocking sound that cut through the room. "Isn't it adorable, seeing a little girl think she can play with the big boys?" He glanced at Raymond, his eyes dancing with malice. "But you know what's really going on, don't you? The truth is hidden, Umbrella Corp and everything, she's part of it." Raymond's heart raced as he scanned Lily's face, confusion flickering across her features. "What do you mean?" Raymond spat, stepping protectively in front of her. "Are you saying she's involved?" Drake smirked, reveling in the chaos he was creating. "You don't even know, do you? You just swept in, playing hero. But there's so much more to her than you realize." Lily's breath quickened. "No, I'm not." But hesitation tangled with fear in her wide eyes. It was a moment of vulnerability that shattered Raymond's heart. Then, as if the ground had shifted, a piercing scream shattered the night. The noise tore through the atmosphere like glass breaking, drawing every gaze toward the street. In that instant, a blur of motion erupted from the dark sedan. A figure rushed toward them, gun drawn, chaos in full bloom. "Get down!" Raymond shouted, his instincts kicking in. He lunged for Lily, but the horror unfolded too fast. The gunman fired, a shot ringing out, but it wasn't directed at them. Instead, it struck Drake in the shoulder, a sharp spray of crimson erupting across the concrete, the force knocking him off his feet. Panic erupted. The crowd scattered, shrieks echoing off the walls. Raymond held Lily tightly, shielding her from the chaos, the sounds of sirens amplifying, desperate cries bleeding into the night. Drake gaped in disbelief, pain contorting his features. "Who the hell?" His words fell, swallowed by the frenzy. The gunman was cloaked in darkness, partially shielded by the shadows, but then a flicker of recognition raced through Raymond. The familiar outline, the stance, it couldn't be. His blood turned cold. "Veronica," he yelled, but as he turned, his sister's face was a mask of horror. "Get back!" She dashed toward the remaining danger, but it wasn't toward the unknown assailant. No, she charged with purpose, eyes locked onto Lily. "You don't understand, you have to," but before she could finish, the gunman shifted, a sudden movement, and fired again. Veronica fell, the sound of tearing flesh cutting through the screams like a knife. Time froze. Shock wrapped around Raymond like a thick fog. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Lily's small hand slipped from his grip, instinctively reaching for Veronica. No. Raymond's scream broke free, raw, and agonized. "Get down, stay with me, Lily." But the little girl stood paralyzed, eyes wide, illuminated by the harsh light, as if reality had shattered into fragments, twisting everything. Raymond turned back to her, desperation clawing at his throat. "We have to go, now." But as he grabbed Lily's arm, he felt a cold rush of understanding. Something in Lily had shifted. The terrified child he had held so tightly now stood like a phoenix rising from ashes, a glimmer of something deeper in her eyes, a secret waiting to unfurl. Before he could grasp the implications, the gunman disappeared into the crowd, blood pooling around Veronica, leaving a whisper of chaos in his wake. Raymond's heart raced. "What are you hiding, Lily?" The question slipped free, heavy with urgency. "Everything, it's all connected," she whispered and turned her gaze toward where the gunman had vanished. In that moment, beneath the weight of tragedy, something bigger loomed ahead. What did Lily know? What were they really fighting against? With Veronica bleeding at their feet and shadows closing in, could they truly escape the dark web closing around them? As Raymond stood frozen, eyes locked on Lily, something shifted in the air. The weight of the gunshot still echoed in his mind, drowning out the panicked voices swirling around him. His heart pounded in his chest, drowning in a sea of confusion. What did you mean by it being all connected? He urged, desperation spilling from his lips. Lily's gaze darted between Raymond and the chaos, searching for the right words. I can't explain it all now," she whispered, her voice trembling. "But if Drake wants me, it's because I know something important, something he would kill to keep hidden." Raymond felt the heat rising, a mix of protectiveness and fear. "You're safe now. I won't let anyone hurt you," he promised, clenching her tiny hand tightly in his. But as hope sparked, a jarring force shattered the moment. A second gunshot rang out, puncturing the confusion. The noise, sharp and violent, sent everyone diving for cover. Raymond pulled Lily to the ground, shielding her with his body, the weight of his own world crashing down around them. But in the fleeting chaos, just as everything started to settle, another figure emerged, a woman disheveled and wild-eyed. She stumbled from the shadows, fear etched across her face. "Megan!" Drake cried out, a mix of anger and surprise. "What the hell are you doing here?" Raymond's heart sank. Megan Thompson, a figure from the past, once part of his life and now a ghost he never expected to see again. She had vanished, leaving only whispers behind. And now, here she was, standing in a storm of chaos, looking more terrified than he'd ever seen. "I came for her, you have to believe me," her voice cracked, and fear surged through the air. "I need to protect Lily." "Protect Lily?" Confusion washed over Raymond. "You know her," he demanded, his thoughts racing. "She's not just a girl, Raymond." Megan's voice rose, desperate. "She's the key, we have to move now." "What are you talking about?" His voice trembled with mistrust. "You disappeared, and now you just show up." Before she could respond, Drake lunged toward Megan, rage in his eyes. "You think you can just run back into this? You don't understand what you're messing with." Just as he reached for her, a figure burst into the shelter. A flash of red and blue lights erupted into the night. Police. The moment surged forward in chaotic clarity, everything erupted in shouts, confusion enveloping them. In the midst of the sudden pandemonium, Lily stepped forward from behind Raymond. "Please, help us." "Drake is," but before she could finish, another gunshot rang out, echoing louder than before. This one struck Drake squarely in the chest. Time hung heavy, a thick moment of shock that seemed to stretch into eternity. Drake staggered, his eyes wide with disbelief before he crumpled to the ground. Silence enveloped them, thick and choking. Lily gasped, stepping back in horror, and Raymond's breath caught. What just happened? He thought, every instinct screaming at him to get out. Megan turned, her face pale. This wasn't supposed to happen, we were supposed to be hidden. Hidden from what? The urgency clawed at Raymond as fear intertwined with confusion. What do you mean? Then, the twist came like a knife to the gut. Lily's not just an orphan. She's tied to something massive, Illuminati-level stuff. Drake, he was after her because she's the last of the Hawthorne lineage. Raymond felt his world tilt, every foundation he'd built shattering. What? That can't be, she's just a child. But as the truth began to unfurl, chilling clarity dawned upon him. The city they thrived in, the secrets spun with venomous threads. They were tangled in a web far deeper than he realized, stitched into the corners of his own family's shadows. Lily's eyes locked onto his, a fierce light shining through the storm of confusion. This is just the beginning, Raymond. They're coming for all of us. With the weight of revelation crashing down, Raymond knew the enemy was closing in. Who really was Lily? And what darkness lay ahead that could consume them all? As uncertainty loomed, the winds of fate began to shift, spiraling toward an unknown, waiting to unravel every truth. Raymond stood there, the chaos swirling around him, heart pounding in his chest. Lily's gaze was fierce, yet confusion danced in her expressive eyes. She opened her mouth to explain, but just as the words were about to spill, the world around them erupted once more. With the crack of another gunshot, everyone ducked. The sound echoed off the walls like thunder, a harsh reminder of their reality. But as Raymond shielded Lily, a wave of force slammed into him, pushing him back. He realized an explosion had erupted from the shadows. Bright flames danced among the chaos, sending shards of glass and debris flying. "Megan!" he shouted, panic igniting in his chest. The flames licked at the walls, twisting and curling like wild creatures. Everything was blurring into smoke and screams. Lily cried out, stumbling back, but Raymond tightened his grip. "We have to move." He pulled her close, guiding her through the panic-stricken crowd. But as they stumbled into an alley, the world around him shifted. They stepped into an eerie silence as the shouts from outside fell away. It felt too quiet, and the air was thick with an unnatural tension. Then a sudden realization crashed over him like a wave. Megan was gone, swallowed by the flames. "No, we can't leave her." He turned, but Lily yanked him back. "Raymond, we need to focus." Her voice cracked, but her urgency ignited something in him. "What about?" he started, but as he looked down at her, her expression changed. The bravery he'd seen began to falter, replaced by something darker, deeper. Without warning, Lily stepped back, shaking her head. "You don't get it. I'm not who you think I am," she whispered, words heavy with weight. Time stopped. "What do you mean?" His heart twisted painfully. "I'm not just a girl. They're not after me for nothing," she choked, a tear slipping down her cheek. "I'm part of something big. It's all about power, secrets, my real name isn't Lily." The world turned hazy, confusion screaming in his mind. "You're what?" "I'm Amelia Hawthorne. The last of the Hawthorne line," she stated firmly, tears shimmering like jewels on her dirt-streaked face. "Drake was after my blood, my legacy." His mind raced 1,000 miles an hour, piecing together the chaos. Legacy. But before he could finish, Lily suddenly gasped. She grabbed his sleeve with intensity, eyes wide in shock. "They're here." Out of the darkness, figures emerged, shadows that were all too familiar. Raymond felt his blood run cold as Drake's men entered, their expressions of cold determination reflecting in the dim light. They moved with purpose, eyes scanning for them. "No, we can't let them take you." Raymond surged forward, determination igniting his every muscle. But just as he prepared to run, a voice cut through the tension, smooth and taunting. "Ah, there you are, Amelia." Everyone froze. The voice was familiar, one that sent chills down Raymond's spine. From the shadows, Veronica stepped forward, a smirk on her lips, face eerily calm amid the chaos. "You've really stirred up a mess, haven't you?" "No." Raymond's voice cracked, disbelief flooding him. "You're with them?" Veronica laughed, a sound that echoed with icy edges. "You have no idea what's at stake, dear brother. You think I was trying to help. I've been working for Drake all along. You should have stayed out of it." Lily's eyes filled with fear, but there was something else twisting in the air, betrayal. Raymond's heart shattered as the betrayal sank in. You lied. I did what I had to do for our family. You don't understand the power we could possess." Veronica's eyes glinted with ambition. "Amelia is a prize, one I'm not letting slip through my fingers." Just then, the sound of sirens returned, a distant wail cutting through the tension. The law was coming, but as the walls of reality closed in, Raymond's world twisted like a knife. Lily stepped forward, voice steady. "You can't have me. I won't be your pawn." But as she declared her independence, the ground beneath them trembled. An explosion rocked through the alley, sending the world spiraling once more into chaos. Everything shattered, literally and metaphorically. With debris flying, faces contorting in shock, they all plunged into the unknown. As the chaos erupted around them, the final question hung heavy in the air. Just how deep did this web of lies go? What had they truly awakened? As the chaos thickened around them, flames flickering wildly against the darkened sky, Raymond felt a surge of desperation. He pulled Lily closer, the heat rushing at them like a living thing. "We have to go," he shouted over the din of shouting and crashing debris. "No," Lily's voice came out sharp, filled with something fierce. "We can't leave Megan," but Raymond was scared and angry. "Megan is gone, we'll find her later." Just as he intended to urge her forward, a shadow shifted. Veronica's smirk widened, confidence returning as she stepped forward. "You're trapped, brother. You brought this on yourself, playing the hero." And then it happened. In the midst of desperate cries and the crackling fire, Lily's eyes widened in recognition. You're the one," she gasped, pointing at Veronica. "All along you knew?" "Of course I knew," Veronica practically crowed, reveling in the chaos. "But you were too blind to see the prize standing right in front of you." Everything felt like it was unraveling. Raymond's mind raced. "What prize? What are you talking about?" But before Veronica could respond, a piercing scream shattered the air. It wasn't just a scream, it was a deep, echoing cry full of anguish that made Raymond's heart lurch. "Lily, run!" he yelled, adrenaline surging as another explosion rocked the alley. The walls trembled, debris raining down. "Lily's the real key, she's not just a child." Veronica hissed, urgency coloring her tone. "She's the last of the Hawthorne line, and you can't protect her forever." Raymond felt the ground shift beneath him. "What do you mean?" It was then that Lily turned, her small frame towering with unexpected resolve. "You're lying," she shouted, clutching her doll tightly, as if drawing strength from its threadbare form. "I'm not a key, I'm a little girl." But the tension was electric. Suddenly, from the shadows, a figure emerged, a tall man with long dark hair, eyes piercing like daggers. Raymond froze, recognition striking him like a punch. "Dalton," he murmured, disbelief flooding his system. The man had been a ghost, someone lost to the depths of family scandals, abandoned ties, and whispered names. Dalton stepped forward, a calm force amidst the chaos. "You thought you could bury the past, Raymond. It's time to face what you allowed to fester." "What the hell are you doing here?" Raymond whispered, his chest tightening. Dalton's gaze landed on Lily. "Amelia, you have no idea how powerful you could be, but they're coming for you. You need to choose a side." "What?" "No," Raymond's heart thundered as confusion seeped into his bones. "This doesn't make sense. Lily's just a Hawthorne," Dalton cut him off savagely, "and everyone is after her, including my father." The name hit Raymond like a brick. "Your father?" Before he could process the depth of this revelation, another explosion erupted nearby, the loudest yet, sending them sprawling. Smoke filled the air, choking. Amid the chaos, he grasped for Lily, panic surging. But she stumbled back, a new clarity sparking in her hazel eyes. "You don't get it, Raymond. I might be a girl, but I was trained for this. You have to trust me. It's not just about you, they will destroy us both." He reached for her, desperate to pull her back into the safety of his grip. But she shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "No, I'm done being scared." And with a surprising flash, she turned, stepping toward Dalton instead of away. "Help me." Raymond's heart dropped as the implications hit him. Was she choosing Dalton over him? Flames roared around them, their blazing tongues casting eerie shadows as he watched Lily take a fateful step closer to someone who could be her destiny or her doom. The collective gasp of the onlookers echoed through the chaos, disbelief rippling like waves through the crowd. "No," he shouted, desperation clawing at his throat. But as the world exploded in shock, another gunshot rang out and everything blurred, inevitably leading to darkness. Would he lose both Lily and the truth behind everything they had known? Raymond stood there, heart racing, as everything spiraled into chaos. The last gunshot had echoed in their ears, and Lily was stepping toward a world he couldn't protect her from. "Lily, wait!" he shouted, desperation clawing at his throat, but she didn't turn back. Just then, a blinding light pierced the smoke, an explosion erupted from behind. Debris rained down, falling like heavy confetti, and the ground shook beneath them. "Run!" Raymond yelled, grabbing for her, but she was already deep in the whirlwind of smoke and confusion. The flames danced close, threatening to engulf everything in their rage. "Amelia, come back!" Veronica's voice cut through the chaos, sharp and cruel. "You think they'll protect you?" Trembling, Lily stood her ground, defiance in her gaze. "I'm not afraid of you or Drake." But as she spoke, suddenly everything halted. The thud of their pulse drowned in an eerie silence that felt heavier than the flames licking at their sides. Then the roof above them creaked ominously, a sound like thunder. "Raymond!" A familiar voice rang out. It was Megan, emerging from the shadows, face streaked with soot, eyes wild. She had survived. But before he could process it, Megan locked eyes with Lily. "You need to listen to me." But just as she surged forward, a blinding flash ignited the air. A blast of energy erupted like a tidal wave, throwing everyone apart. Raymond shielded his face, screaming as he felt a crushing weight slam into him. The entire area spun into a surreal cloud of chaos. He thought he saw Lily fall, but then everything went pitch black. When he opened his eyes, time had shifted. The surrounding flames danced slower, almost mockingly. The air crackled with electricity. There was a voice, smooth and silky, weaving its way through the shadows. "Welcome, Amelia." Raymond blinked, exhaling sharply. It couldn't be. Everything he thought he knew shattered again. In the center of the chaos stood Lily, or Amelia, as the voice called her. She was glowing, an ethereal light radiating from her tiny frame. "You've all been so blind." "What?" Raymond stammered, confusion gripping him. "Raymond, you have no idea what's happening." Lily, or Amelia, smirked, the innocence in her eyes replaced with something powerful. "I'm not just the last of the Hawthorne line. I'm the key to something much bigger." The realization finally hit him. This wasn't just about survival. They were part of something monumental, a game that transcended the chaos around them. But that was when Megan took a step forward, voice trembling with betrayal. You knew all along?" "Of course," Amelia said, and it felt like a knife in Raymond's gut. "You were pawns in a game way beyond you." And in an instant, everything changed. A black spiral formed in the air, drawing them in, the shadows writhing, and the fire began to flicker. The world spun back towards reality as whispers filled the space. "You can't escape," the voice trailed, as sinister laughter filled the chaos. "It's time to choose your side." As the darkness closed in, Raymond's stomach twisted, realizing that this wasn't just about protecting a girl anymore. It was about power, legacy, and a threat that could consume them all. Could he trust the girl who had just revealed her true self? Or had he unknowingly stepped into a trap that would redefine not only their lives, but also the fate of their lineage? The smoke swirled around, cutting his breath short, and he had to decide quickly. In this game of betrayal, was he still fighting for Lily, or had it all been a farce from the very beginning? As the darkness closed in, a pulse of electric energy filled the air, snapping the tension like a taut line ready to break. Raymond stumbled back, his mind racing with possibility and dread, heart thrumming in his chest. Amelia, Lily, stood before him, a new light igniting in her eyes. A quiet, hidden power that only now was starting to unfurl. He stood frozen, emotions jumbled. Was this the girl he had tried to save, or had she always known how special she was? But just as he was about to question her further, a loud crack echoed through the air. The ground shuddered violently, like an earthquake tearing them all asunder. Amid the confusion, he glimpsed something bright, a flash of light in the depths of the chaos. "Get down!" he shouted, instinct kicking in, but it was too late. The explosion overwhelmed them, engulfing everything in a blinding glare. And then it happened. Amelia, Lily, softened, her glow dimming with the eruption. The next moment, the brightness morphed into shadows as it pulled away, revealing what lay beneath. Raymond's eyes widened. "Wait!" he cried, but the words came out as a desperate gasp. The darkness settled back, revealing not just Amelia, but something twisted behind her. And to everyone's shock, a figure emerged from within the shadows. Not just any figure. Margaret Hawthorne, Raymond's estranged mother, assumed dead years ago, stepped forward. The streets fell into an agonizing hush. Silence hung like fog, thick and heavy. "Mother," Raymond whispered, disbelief choking his voice. Her expression was a mix of sadness and determination as she looked at Amelia. "You've grown," she said softly, "but you're still in danger." Shock rippled through the air, a collective gasp rising as everyone struggled to comprehend the impossible. Veronica's fear melted into confusion, and even Drake's men hesitated, caught off guard by the reappearance of their lost matriarch. "I thought you were dead," Raymond shouted, heart pounding against his ribs. "I had to disappear. They were after our family. Your father's dealings, the secrets we buried, I had to protect you." Her eyes darted to Amelia. "And you, my sweet girl, you hold the key to everything." The pieces began to snap into place, and the truth hit him hard. Raymond had believed Drake and Veronica were the enemy, but this revealed a tangled web far beyond their petty ambitions. Key to what? Amelia's voice quivered, but there was a newfound bravery behind it. Margaret stepped closer, her presence commanding. "To our legacy, the truth about the Hawthorne lineage, the power that can shake the foundations of this city, and what real control means." "I don't want any of this," Amelia protested, stepping back. "I've been running from my past." But Margaret's gaze held steady, unyielding. "You cannot run from who you are. Understanding your power is the only way to break the cycle. The enemies you face now, they need your bloodline to fulfill their own master plan." Fear blazed through Raymond. "What are you saying?" "The Hawthorne family is a bloodline, a lineage sought by many, including Drake. If he gets to you, it will mean ruin for us all." Everything shifted. Betrayal lingered around them, and the heaviness thickened as the truth sank in. In the blink of an eye, the world around them exploded into chaos once more. Gunfire erupted, and in that moment, Raymond realized they were the focal point of a deadly convergence. "Run!" Raymond shouted, grabbing Amelia's arm. But before they could move, a blinding bright light engulfed them. The haze cleared as the shot echoed, and there stood a shadowed figure, gun held steady, smirk gracing their lips. It wasn't Drake this time. "It's too late, kids," the figure sneered. "Your family's secrets end here. This is just the beginning." Everything crumbled around them as the truth smacked Raymond hard in the face. Gone were the days when he believed he could protect Lily, Amelia, from this world. The fight had just begun, and stakes had never been higher. Would they survive, or would family darkness consume them all? Raymond felt his heart race as the figure before him aimed the gun, their smirk taunting him in the chaos surrounding them. "It's too late, kids. Your family's secrets end here. This is just the beginning." The air thickened with tension, and for a moment everything stilled. Time suspended, breaths held. Then the ground shook again, but this time it wasn't just an explosion, it was something deeply unsettling. The gunman's eyes widened, as if sensing an impending storm. "What?" he stammered, his grip faltering. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted from the shadows, washing over everyone like a tidal wave. Raymond squinted against the light's intensity, trying to shield Lily, Amelia, by instinct. The moment dragged, stretching into a surreal scene where the gunmen struggled to stay upright. And then, amidst the radiance, figures emerged, tall, cloaked in mystery yet somehow familiar. They stepped forward, their presence commanding. It was a group of people, all dressed in dark, elegant suits, faces obscured but powerful. "Enough of this charade," one of them declared, voice smooth but filled with authority. Margaret's eyes lit up, recognition slicing through the chaos. "You're here. Mother, you shouldn't be here," Margaret replied, urgency coloring her tone. "Oh, but we must save the legacy." The newcomer insisted, moving closer. Their eyes pierced through the dim light. "We've waited too long for this." "You know what she holds. What are you talking about?" Raymond shouted, fear and anger mixing in a swirling storm within him. "Who are you?" "Enough questions." The figure raised their hand, and the gunman stumbled, suddenly disarmed. "Your time is up." Then everything changed. Another light flashed, this one colder, sharper, and a rumble echoed as the street quaked beneath them. The figures moved with extraordinary speed, each reaching for the gunman with a precise and fluid motion. In that instant, a shocking realization took hold. The gunman wasn't a random assailant, he was connected to these people, connected to their purpose. No. Raymond turned back to Lily, trying to make sense of the whirlwind, but she stood firm and a strange calm washed over her. "I know them," she whispered, a small smile creeping onto her face. "They're my family." "What?" "No." He felt his heart drop. "What do you mean your family?" The air crackled with intensity, and as if the world had flipped upside down, Lily, or Amelia, as she'd revealed, stepped forward, hand outstretched. "You don't know everything. They've been watching me, waiting for the right moment." Raymond swallowed hard. "This doesn't make sense." A chorus of murmurs erupted from the dark-suited figures, each word swirling in the air like whispers from beyond. "It's time to take back what is ours," one finally stated, their tone imbued with raw power. "The Hawthorne legacy cannot be extinguished." Then, to everyone's shock, the gunman fell to his knees, his eyes wide with terror. "No, you can't." But it was too late. They were pulling something from him, something glowing, bright and ethereal, spilling into the air and weaving around them. Raymond watched in horror as the bright form solidified, and a distinct figure appeared, the ghostly outline of a woman, ethereal yet eerily familiar. "Amelia," she whispered, her voice hauntingly sweet. "Mother." Lily's voice broke. "Is it really you?" The figure nodded slowly, confirmation echoing like a tolling bell. "You have awakened the bloodline, my darling. The powers within you are meant to rise." Raymond's breath caught. Everything he thought he knew flipped as a wave of emotion crashed over him. What had been a desperate fight to save a child was now an awakening of something far older, deeper, and more powerful than he could have grasped. Tension hummed thick in the air as reality warped around them. "You're not just a girl, you're part of something horrific and beautiful." Suddenly, Amelia's eyes glimmered with something fierce. "Then let's finish this together." As the darkness and light collided around them in a struggle for control, a question hung heavily. Whose side were they really on? And in this newfound legacy, what sacrifices were they willing to make? Raymond's heart pounded as the room settled into chaos. The ghostly figure of Amelia's mother shimmered before them, casting light on the shadows of their past. It felt like everything was coming undone, yet somehow, it was also a moment of clarity. "Listen to her," Margaret urged. "You've awakened the bloodline. It's time to unite and reclaim your legacy." But terror gripped Raymond. "Reclaim? We're being hunted. All I wanted was to protect her." Amelia gripped his arm. Her tiny hand felt both fragile and fierce. "I don't want this, but I must face it. We can't run forever." The gunman stared, fear spreading across his face. "You think I'll let you go? I don't care who you are." He pointed his gun at them, shaking. "Stop," Margaret commanded, stepping forward. The air crackled with dangerous anticipation. Suddenly, Amelia stepped closer to the shadowy figures surrounding her. "You want me? Here I am." Raymond's breath hitched. Her voice, though small, carried a strength that felt like a beacon. She stood firm, ready to confront her destiny. The figures moved with a fluid grace, surrounding the gunman, their power pushing back against the tension in the room. "You don't understand what you're dealing with." The man yelled, desperation creeping into his voice. But before he could react, the energy lashed out, engulfing him. He struggled, but the shadows consumed him, and with a final scream, silence settled. The remaining figures turned to face Amelia, their expressions softening. "The time has come, Amelia, but you must choose wisely." "What do you mean?" she asked, wide-eyed. "There are always factions wanting to manipulate your power." One figure stepped forward, a hand reaching out. "Stand with us and you can reshape the world." But Raymond's heart raced at the words. "Your power could destroy everything. You can't trust them, Lily, Amelia." Tension crackled in the air, a war of wills echoing through the dim alley. Amelia's gaze darted between the figures and Raymond. Fear flickered in her eyes, followed by determination. "I won't be a pawn. I want to protect my life, my freedom." Margaret nodded, her voice steady. "Then trust yourself, Amelia. The choice is yours." And in that moment, Raymond felt a glimmer of hope. "Whatever you decide, I'll be with you." A smile broke across her face, the kind of smile that could pierce through darkness. "I know that, Raymond." As the air thickened with what felt like destiny, Amelia took a deep breath. "I choose to create my own path." The shadowy figures nodded approvingly, and a radiant light enveloped her once more. The tension in the room melted away, bringing with it a sense of unshakable resolve. "I'll use the power to protect, not control." With that, the figures shimmered out of sight, leaving behind silence and a promise of a new beginning. Raymond breathed her name, stepping closer as the world around them softened. You did it. You took control. Tears glistened in her eyes, but they were no longer ones of fear. We did it together. Suddenly, the possibility of new beginnings sparked within them. They turned to face the new dawn outside, leaving behind a world of chaos for one full of hope. They were not alone anymore. Though they had won the battle, what lay ahead remained shrouded in mystery. What's next for us? Raymond asked, glancing at Amelia with anticipation. The sun broke through the darkness, painting the world with vibrant hues. A new journey awaited them, with unknown challenges lying in the shadows. As the light warmed their faces, they stepped forward into the uncertain world, ready to face whatever came next. Before you dive into your next adventure, I need you to take a moment. Subscribe to this channel now so you won't miss the next exclusive stories. We've got so much coming up. Smash that like button. Do it right now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more people. And don't forget to flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild ending. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to know how it all wraps up. You must support us as true fans. It makes a huge difference. Don't wait another second.